Hey guys, it's Preston with Alpha EDU. Hey guys, it's Preston with Alpha EDU. Hey guys, it's Preston with Alpha EDU. Alpha EDU! Hey, Cashman! Thank you. Thank you for that welcome. I appreciate it. Glad to be here with you guys today. Very thankful to be able to present at Wallace Community College here in Eufaula. Brooke is a friend of mine, and I'm very thankful for her invitation. I recognize a few faces in the room, so some of you may have seen this presentation before, and if so, that's totally fine. You're already ahead of the game. But for those of you I haven't met before, like she said, my name is Preston Pritchett. Full-time, what I do on a daily basis is I'm a teacher at Troy University. Go Trojans. If you're a big fan of college baseball, then you'll know that Troy is on its way to Omaha for the College World Series, one of the top 8 baseball teams in the entire country, which is really cool. I see your Troy shirt. Let's go Trojans. But on the side, as some people call a side hustle, I do educational programming through a company called Alpha EDU. You see my branding all over. And I help students such as yourselves learn about financial literacy, entrepreneurship, and leadership. And the method I use, as you can tell behind me, is game shows. In my opinion, I've never met anyone who doesn't like a game show. I love watching them on TV. I love playing games with family, whether it's a board game or it's The Price is Right. Whatever it is, I like games, and I think most people do too. And so I use that method as I present what I think is very beneficial information. And as she mentioned, today's topic is one that I think you'll really enjoy. It's called Funding Your Future. All of you are high school students, correct? Yes? I think she said sophomores, juniors, seniors. So let me see, where are the 10th graders in the room? Okay, these are rising 10th graders, is that right? Okay. So you just completed your first year, now you're going into your second year of high school. Where are the rising juniors? 11th graders, okay. And any upcoming seniors? All right, congratulations to all of you. I imagine all the upcoming seniors are very excited and probably ready to finish high school. So this presentation, I heard a yes. This presentation is especially important for you rising seniors because you're about to be in what we call the real world. Now I think you're already in it because everybody has his or her own path and story. But you're definitely about to be in a situation where you might be working full-time or maybe part-time. Maybe you're choosing to go into the military. Maybe you're choosing to go to college. Whatever your next step is after high school, whether you're a rising sophomore, junior, or upcoming senior, the information in this presentation, I believe, will be beneficial. The other reason you should pay attention, besides it just being good info, is because I said I got some games going on. These aren't just for show. These aren't just to have some fancy lights on the screen. I actually have games that some of you are going to play. And if you are chosen to play the games, you then have a chance to win actual money. I'm not just, I got my attention now. I'm not kidding. I do presentations like this all the time, all across the state. I'm giving away cold, hard cash to some of you today. When you walk out of these doors in about 45 minutes, some of you are going to be richer than when you came in. No jokes. I promise you 100%. So she's like, okay, that deserves a round of applause. Okay, appreciate it. So I think I kind of like this guy. I wasn't sure, the money jacket, what's going on, but I kind of like this guy. All right, so here's what I need you to do. 2 things I need from you guys. Great audience, I can tell. 2 things I need from you. 1, when there's an opportunity to participate, to engage, to get excited, I want you to. Hey, it's summer. I don't see a whole lot of other activity going on in this part of the building today, so I want you guys to get loud. I want you guys to get excited. I have a recording going on in the back. I use some clips on my website and on social media, so I want you guys to bring some energy today. The other thing I need you to do is you got to pay attention, not just because I want you to, because I'm up here talking, yada, 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 but you have to pay attention because in order to win money, you have to answer some questions, and the questions are based on the information I share. So it behooves you, ACT word, to pay attention so you can have a better chance at possibly winning money. Sound good? All right, let's get into it. So like I said, today we're talking about a presentation called Funding Your Future. All of you have bright futures ahead. Let's talk about how you can get more money for your future. Why are we talking about this topic right now? I don't know about you. I am a big sports fan. In fact, who watched the NBA Finals game last night? What a comeback, right? I mean, I thought the Knicks were gone, and they came back after 29 points down, largest comeback in NBA Finals history, regardless of who you're pulling for, or if you don't have I'm a Hawks fan. They didn't have that great of a season. Regardless of who you're pulling for, I think sports is something that most people enjoy. In fact, in this country, we have a great history of training young people, young adults like yourselves, to be really good at sports. In fact, how many of you play a sport at your high school? Most of you in the room. Keep your hands up really quickly. For those of you that are athletes, how many of you started playing that sport this year? Only one or two. Most of you then, because your hands are down, then that means that you've been playing that sport for a while. Probably since middle school, maybe since junior high, maybe since the backyard, throwing the football, shooting the basketball, whatever, with your cousins on the street corner. We have a long history of teaching young people to be really good at sports, and that's awesome. We got some of the best professional sports in the world. We got the Olympics coming up in a few years. It's going to be awesome. We have a great tradition of athletics in our country, and that's amazing. What we don't have as great a history of as teaching is teaching young people to be really good with their money. We got great athletics. In fact, you won't believe it by looking at me, but here's a picture to prove it. I actually played sports in college. I went to Auburn University. Yeah. Now, I work at Troy, so I'll say go Trojans, but because it's where I went to school, I'll also say War Eagle. If you're an Alabama fan, sorry. Anyways, this is a picture. This is a picture of me from practice one day. So one I could find really quickly to show you guys. I was actually getting tackled by a teammate of mine in an inter-squad game. Anyways, I had a chance to play my freshman year of college, but I didn't start playing that sport in college. I played it in high school, played it in junior high, played it all the way back in Pee Wee, right? I had lots of training. What I didn't get as much training on was how to be financially savvy with my money. And now that I'm an adult, now that I'm in my 30s, and I'm trying to work to support my family, I've had to learn some things a little bit the hard way. And I wish I had decent training, but I wish I would have had more on how to use money the right way to set myself up for even more success. So that's what presentations like this are all about. So here's how it's going to work today, guys. We have 4 topics. I know that sounds like a lot. It's going to go really fast. Each of the topics has vital information for you regarding financial literacy. After each topic, I am going to look across the room for a volunteer. Not yet, but in a few minutes, I'll tell you I need a volunteer. I'll look for hands. I'll try to pick someone that I think is going to do a great job. That person will have to come up on stage and answer some questions in front of everyone else about the information I share. The more questions you answer correctly, the better chance you have of winning money. Makes sense? We'll do that 4 times. We'll have four contestants, and then that will be the presentation. Sound good? Remember, I need 2 things from you. Pay attention and have some fun. I want you to engage. I want you to make some noise when there's time to make some noise. So let's go ahead and jump into our first topic. It is called managing your money. Managing your money. Some key elements of managing money I want you guys to know about. You can see them on the screen right here. Income and expenses. You cannot be financially savvy. Savvy means smart with your money, unless you understand income and expenses. These words are vital to you knowing how to manage your money the right way. First word, income. Very easy to understand. Money coming in. That's all it is money. Income is money coming in. Whatever you have, maybe it's a part-time job, one day a full-time job, maybe you have a side hustle, maybe you had a birthday, maybe you sold something. Whatever it is for you to get money coming in, that is what we call income. The other term is expenses. Money going out. Income's coming in, expenses is going out. No one I've ever met in my life has ever said, I need less money. Everyone I've met raises a hand and says, hey, money man, game show guy, I need what? More money. Everybody needs more money, right? We all need more money. There's only 2 fundamental ways to get more money in your life. Increase your income where you have more coming in, or decrease your expenses where you have less going out. That's the only 2 ways. Get more coming in or less going out, or do both. Have more coming in while you have less going out, and you have more money that way. But those are 2 fundamental ways. So if you need more money, figure out how to increase your income or decrease your expenses. Now, when it comes to income, I want to make sure you guys understand this right here, gross and net income. When I say gross, I don't mean nasty and yucky. This term gross means the overall amount. the total amount. For instance, when you work a legitimate part-time job, when I was in high school, I worked at a fast food restaurant. Anybody doing fast food right now? A couple people? All right, how many of you want to keep doing that same job 10 years from now? Most people don't. That's why you're in high school. That's why you're thinking about going to college one day, maybe here at Wallace, maybe at Troy. And so you want to get an education to maybe get a better career position, right? But I worked at fast food when I was in high school. When I got paid every 2 weeks. The money that I was getting paid was not what I thought it was going to be. Here's what I mean by that. I talked to the manager at this fast food restaurant. He told me, you're going to make X amount of dollars every 2 weeks. I'm making this up. I don't remember how much it was. Let's say it was $500 every 2 weeks. All right, cool. So payday comes after 2 weeks. Been working there. Hadn't got any paid yet. Payday comes. I'm looking at my paycheck, and it's not $500. It's less. I thought I'd been robbed. I thought I'd been lied to. What are you talking about? You told me $500. So I go and talk to him, and he had to explain to me this thing called gross and net income. Gross is the overall amount. That's where your pay starts. Net income is what actually goes into your bank account, what's shown up on your paycheck. The difference between those two are called deductions. You know some of these deductions, I promise you. Nod your heads if you've heard of taxes. Nod your heads if you've heard of Social Security. Nod your heads if you've heard of Medicare. And there are other ones as well, but those are three main deductions that every person, every working professional has to pay. This money goes to the federal government for a variety of things, whether you want it to go there or not. And so when you get your paycheck, it may be less than what you thought it was going to be because of these deductions. So you need to make sure you're living off of net income, not off of gross income. One day you're going to get a career position. You may get hired for a job that pays you $100,000 a year. That's awesome. 6 figures, living in Alabama, you're doing really well. But that doesn't mean you have $100,000 of money to spend because you have to account for those deductions. Let's keep going. When it does come to expenses, everybody has things they're buying, things they're spending money on. Big things, little things, all kinds of stuff we're spending money on. In fact, I think the average number of transactions most people make in a day is almost 10 transactions. So maybe going to get some food at the fast food restaurant, maybe going down to the drink machine to get a soda, whatever it is, 10 transactions every single day. So you got to understand your expenses, because if you don't know where your money is going, it's a good way to lose your money. So let's talk about 3 types of expenses. When I say 3, I want you to say 3. 3 types of expenses. 3. There you go, 3 types. First one is fixed, a fixed expense. That is an expense that does not change. It stays the same month to month, year to year. My wife and I, we have a home that we're raising our son in. That means we have a mortgage. Wherever you live, whether it's a mortgage or an apartment, maybe you pay rent, you have something you have to pay for every single month. That amount most likely stays the same and doesn't change. That is a fixed expense. The second is periodic. When you guys get to college, if you choose to go to college one day, you'll understand that you have to pay tuition, right, to go to college. Maybe you're on a scholarship, but most students pay tuition to go to college. They don't pay tuition month to month. They pay it at the very beginning of the semester, so twice a year, in August and in January for the fall and the spring semesters. That's a periodic expense. Doesn't happen all the time, happens periodically. And then the third and final one is variable expense. These happen all the time, they change. Right? I go grocery shopping with my family every 2 weeks. We buy mostly the same groceries every single time. But when we get to the cash register, is it the exact same amount every single time? It might be close, but it's different because prices change, because we buy some different things. It varies every single time, right? And so that variable expense, like a grocery charge, changes every single time. So fixed, periodic, and variable. No matter what types of expenses you have, the key here is to track your expenses. You have to keep track of them so you know where your money is going, because if you don't know where your money is going, it's a good way to lose it. I'm getting my second and final slide for this topic. After this slide, I'm getting my first volunteer, so get ready. Banking and accounts. When it comes to managing your money, you need to know that if you're going to be financially savvy, you need to keep your money in a safe location. When I say safe, I don't mean in your piggy bank. I don't mean underneath your mattress, right? We call it mattress money. I mean in a bank or a credit union that will keep your money safe, some type of financial institution. And when it comes to these, most of the time, most financial institutions fall into 2 categories of bank or credit union. For the most part, they look the same, but they do have some key differences. Banks are what we call for-profit institutions. They're trying to make money for their shareholders, for their owners of that particular bank. Can anyone think of the name of some banks in our community or where you live that you might have heard of or seen before? Wells Fargo is a bank. Regions is a bank. Let's get one more. CB&T, Community Bank and Trust. That's right. A couple more then. Ameris Bank. All right. So hold that thought. I'm going to come back to you. Guardian. Last one right here. Both of those, Guardian 5-star. So before we name those, we name several banks. Wells Fargo and Regions are two examples, what we call commercial banks. Usually these are national or international banks. They're found all over the place. They have lots of branches. And again, they're working to make money for their owners, for their shareholders. The other option is what we call credit unions. Guardian and 5-star are two examples of credit unions. They look a lot like a bank, but instead of having owners, they have members. And if you belong to that credit union, you're a member, and the credit union is trying to make more money for you. So usually, their rates might be a little bit better on loans and other sorts of things. Does that mean banks are bad? Absolutely not. I'm a member of Wells Fargo, right? I keep my money there, but I also have an account at Guardian Credit Union. So I have multiple different accounts. Either way, both of them are great places for you to keep your money. When it comes to having your money in a financial institution, most people who are savvy have two types of accounts. The first is a checking account. Nod your heads if you've heard checking accounts before. This is for your daily money. This is what you're going to use with your debit card. You go to the fast food restaurant, you pay for your food, you go to the drink machine, whatever it is, use Venmo to pay someone back. You're going to have money coming out of your checking account. This is for your daily money where your paycheck will go. Everything you need to live on comes out of your checking account. The other is your savings account, and most people have one of these as well because they don't need money just to live. They're planning for their future. This is where your savings account comes into play. Savings accounts typically pay a higher interest rate for the money you already have in it, which is really good. In fact, savings accounts are where people put their emergency funds. What's an emergency fund? It's money you have tucked away for when a bad thing happens. And promise you this, guys, you're old enough to understand bad things will happen, right? You're driving down the road, all of a sudden you hit a pothole, boom, tire blows, you got to get your tire fixed. You're at home taking a shower, all of a sudden the hot water turns cold, boom, your water heater went out, got to fix that. Bad things are going to happen, and you better have money saved up to pay for those things, because if you don't, it's a quick way to go ahead and get in debt, which you don't want to do. So have money in a savings account for your emergency fund. You also want to have money for short-term and long-term savings. Short-term, I like to say, is less than 5 years. What's something that every one of you in the room is going to do, a big life moment in the next 5 years? Graduate from high school, maybe buy a car, maybe start college for most of you, I hope. Maybe go on a vacation after you graduate, like a graduation trip. All right, cool. What about more than 5 years from now? What kind of big events? Buy a house? Maybe have kids? Maybe start a business? Graduate college. Maybe get married. These things don't necessarily have to be expensive, but they usually are. And so you want to have money saved up for that. And of course, nobody mentioned this, but everybody in the room, me and all the adults as well, retirement. Right? We don't want to work till we die. We want to work and then save up money and then be able to live. So you want to have money saved up for short-term and long-term savings. Final piece. I'm getting my first volunteer. Specialty accounts. I mentioned checking. I mentioned savings. Specialty accounts are additional accounts held at most banks and credit unions that will allow you to be able to earn better interest rates on your money. Financially savvy people who are really good with money, listen to me. They don't just work hard for their money. They have their money working hard for them. Sounds good, doesn't it? I don't just work hard for my money. I have my money working hard for me. And this is where people use specialty accounts. Two examples of these are what we call CDs, certificates of deposit, and MMAs, money market accounts. Both of these are options for you to put a certain amount of money into a bank account for a set period of time where you can't touch it, but it earns a better interest rate, usually somewhere between 3 to 5%. And then after a set amount of time, you get your original amount back plus a lot more because you had it in one of these special accounts. Again, the trick is you have to leave it there for a set amount of time. You can't use it. So this doesn't need to be your daily money. It needs to be a separate amount that you don't need to use right now. Sort of like that, yeah. Okay, so that concludes our first topic on money management. Now it's time for a volunteer. Anybody interested and willing? You know what? I heard you earlier and you had a lot of energy. Come on up, green jacket. Give them a round of applause for our first volunteer. You might just have to hop up. I'm covering up the stairs over there. All right, what's your name?
Delia.
Delia, nice to meet you, Delia. All right, stand right over there, Delia, so everyone can see the screen. All right, thank you for being our first volunteer. Here's how it's going to work, Delia. I have 3 questions to ask you based on the information I just shared. Take a deep breath. It's all good. Each of the questions is multiple choice. And if necessary, you can get a little help from the audience.
Okay.
All right. Now, if you get a question wrong, nothing bad happens. But if you get a question right, it's going to help you play one of our games today. Sound good? All right, first question, Delia. Hey, if she gets it wrong, I don't want to hear any boos, no jeers. But if she gets it right, I want to hear some clapping, some applause, all right? So here we go, Delia. She's going to get it. You're going to get it right here. First question. Purchasing groceries, Delia, is which type of expense? A fixed expense, a periodic expense, a variable expense, or a seasonal expense? She says variable expense. Remember, if she gets it right, I want to hear some applause. She says variable. The answer is variable. Let's go. All right. I like that. Very good. 1 for 1. All right, Delia, second question. In which account do most people typically place their emergency funds?
Savings.
She doesn't even need me to read the answer choices, y'all. Is it savings? Let's go. 2 for 2. Last one, dude. What is a good savings rate for a certificate of deposit? 1 to 2%, 3 to 5%, 6 to 7, or 9 to 10? She's thinking.
6 to 7.
She says, is it 6 to 7? Oh, it's actually 3 to 5. That's okay. She got 2 out of 3. She got 2 out of 3. All right, you got 2 out of 3 correct. Pretty good. The game you're going to play, Delia, is called Prize Drop, and it's right behind you. Here's how it's going to work, Delia. I have 2 discs that you're going to drop from the top of our board over here, and they're going to trickle all the way down the board, and you see we have 7 slots that can fall into at the bottom. On the screen, you can see how much each slot is worth. Slots 1 and 7 on the ends are worth $10. Slots 2 and 6 are worth $15. Slots 3 and 5 are worth $20. Let me hear some applause. And slot number 4 is worth $25. So here's what I need you to do, Delia. Walk right around. There's a very safe, very sturdy ladder that you can step up on right behind here. Go ahead and keep going until you can see over the board. All right, can everybody see her? All right, let's go, Delia. So when I tell you, all right, not yet, but when I tell you, place it flat up on the top, move it left, move it right. You're aiming for the middle because you want to get 4. That's the highest amount. When it drops, we'll see what it lands in. While it's falling, I want everybody cheering and making some loud noise, okay? Go ahead and put it where you want it. On your mark, get set, go. Let's go. Big money, 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 big money. Yeah! All right. Well, that was a little climactic. I like it. Very good. So I was going to give you the option, depending on where it landed, to give up that amount and try again, but you landed on the highest amount. So I'm guessing you want to stop there. All right, come on down. Give her a round of applause. All right, come back around here really quickly. Nicely done. All right, so tell me about that experience. Have you ever done anything like that before?
I have not, but it was definitely really fun.
Okay.
And enjoying. It was excited to hear y'all cheer me on.
Yeah. What was your strategy?
My strategy was, if the 4 right here, why not put like right there in the middle?
Yeah.
Slide down to the 4.
And you had an extra chance just in case. Yep. Well, you did very good. So here's how it's going to work. I'm going to get other volunteers to the presentation at the end. I'll bring everybody up and pay them the money. One more round of applause for Delia. Nicely done. All right. So 1 topic down, 3 to go. You guys see how it's going. We've already given away some good money. Nice job, Delia. Here we go. Moving to topic number 2, credit and savings. Credit and savings. People who are financially savvy understand the importance of credit. What is credit? Credit is what we call borrowing someone else's money. When you need to buy something that you don't have the money for, you have to borrow money for it, and that is called credit. We also refer to that sometimes as a loan. Credit is useful, but it's also dangerous because when you borrow someone else's money through credit, you not only have to pay that amount back, you often have to pay back more because of that word interest. Now, earlier I said interest was a good thing. If it's a money that you're earning, interest is good. But if it's money that you're paying, interest is bad. And so you want to be careful when it comes to credit. It's useful, but it's dangerous. Now, I would like to tell you that every person in the world gets loaned money the same way, but they don't. Banks and credit unions do not loan money equally to every person. Now, thankfully, these institutions cannot make changes based on your gender, based on your ethnicity, based on your religion. They can't differentiate that way. What they can do is make differentiations based on your age, based on your income, and based on your ability to pay money back. And all of that factors into these two terms that you've probably heard before: credit score and credit report. What are these? Let's talk about them really quickly. Credit score is simply a number that indicates how likely it is for you to pay back any money that you've been loaned. It's simply a score that indicates your ability to pay back money. I like to use an analogy when I'm talking about credit scores and credit reports, something that all of you will understand. Now, most of you I don't know before. I've never met you before, but let's say, I'm going to use Delia again because she just came up. Let's say that I wanted to know if Delia was going to be a good student in my class one day at Troy University. Now, she seems like a really nice person. She did a great job on the game, but talking academically, I don't really know her that well. So if I wanted to know if Delia might be a good student in my class one day, I might ask Delia for a number right now, a number that represents her overall academic performance over all the classes she's taken in high school. What is that number called, Delia? A GPA, yeah. A GPA, a grade point average, right? And for most students, it goes from a 0, which would be like total Fs, all the way to a 4.0, which would be all A's, right? 0 to 4. And that number indicates how likely it is that you'll do in a future class. Doesn't mean that you're going to make an A in your next class, but if you have a 4.0 GPA, it's a good likelihood that you would. Same thing with a credit score. A credit score just indicates how likely it is that you'll repay money that you've been loaned. However, a GPA goes from a 0 to a 4. A credit score goes from a 300 at the bottom to an 850 at the top. 300 to 850. And just like a GPA, the higher, the better. If you have a 300 credit score, you're not getting any loans. Nobody's loaning you any money, I promise. That would be like a 0.0 GPA. But if you have an 800, 815, 830, 850 credit score, you could pretty much walk into any bank, any credit union and say you want a loan for something, and they would be happy to loan that money to you because they would be confident that you would pay that money back. Now, credit scores don't always tell the full story, just like a GPA doesn't. Now, I know you guys think that I'm super smart and I'm up here doing this presentation, but I'll be honest with you guys. I tell my students the same thing. Grades do not reflect how smart someone is. Grades reflect how hard someone works. There are lots of smart people who are really lazy people. In fact, I was one of them. In college, I was really lazy. My freshman year, I did not work hard. I was there for the wrong reasons. I wasn't necessarily a bad kid, but I just got too involved and overextended, and I didn't focus on my grades very well. And because of that, I had a really bad GPA. Now, I learned a good lesson. My mom almost killed me, but I did better, and I ended up graduating later on, right? But I learned a good lesson. But if you would have looked at me that freshman year and saw my GPA, you would have thought that I was a really bad student, when really I was just a lazy student. Because the GPA doesn't always tell the full story, sometimes if we want to know how good a student is academically, we ask for a different thing, a document that shows all the classes you've taken since you started kindergarten or first grade. It starts with a T. What is that document called?
Transcript.
Your transcript, right? And if I look at your transcript, I see every semester, every score. I might even know the teacher's name, the classes you took from when you were in 6th grade, right? That transcript shows the full picture. Similarly, your credit report shows the full picture to banks and credit unions. It's not just a moment in time at the credit score. It shows the full document of any loans you've had. It shows where you've worked in the past. It shows places you've lived. It shows all key details. That credit report is really important. It can go back 7, sometimes 10 years. Final thing I want to talk about really quickly, and we'll jump into more in a moment, is credit cards. Credit cards are a form of a loan. And so you want to be very careful when you're borrowing money through a credit card when you're using cards, because that can also affect your credit score and your credit report. Now, in this country, there are 4 main things most people loan money for. 4 key things people borrow money. Number 1 is a mortgage. Number 2, an auto loan. Number 3 is that credit card we just mentioned. And number 4 is a student loan. Yeah, many people borrow money to go to college. Let's talk about these really quickly. A mortgage. When you want to buy a house one day, you'll likely have a mortgage. I have one right now. Most adults do. You're paying back money on a house that you've borrowed money for. Most homes are expensive. Let's give an example really quickly. Let's say that you're going to graduate one day and you want to buy a home and you're going to find a really nice one that you like, super cute, and you like it, fits all the details, $100,000. It's actually pretty low for a home, but let's just use that as an example. Now, you know that you need $100,000 to buy this house, so you go to the bank, you tell them that you want to borrow money for a home. They said, okay, let's check out your credit score, credit report, everything looks good. They say, okay, let's look at the value of the house. Is it worth $100,000? That looks good too. They say, okay, how much money do you need to borrow for this house? And you say, well, I just told you $100,000. They're going to say, nope, not giving you $100,000. We want you to put in some money up front as well for the cost of this house. We call that a down payment. Usually that down payment amount is around 20%. So get this, if you're going to buy a $100,000 home, which is a low amount for a house, by the way, you need 20%. That means you need $20,000 just to get the loan for the other $80,000 to buy the house. So you better be using what we talked about earlier, that savings account, to save up money for that long term, because $20,000 is a lot of money. So you want to make sure that you have that. On top of that, there are other fees you got to pay for: appraisal fees, closing fees, home inspection, all kinds of other things. So you got to be very careful to make sure that you are using your money the right way when it comes to buying a home. Next is the automobile. Most of you in the room, if you're not already able to have your own car, you'll want your own car one day. Being able to buy a new car works a lot like a home. They're not as expensive, but it's similar. The sticker price that you see on the car isn't always the full story. You think that you're going to go buy a $20,000 car, you get in there and you start talking about the price of the car, they check your credit score, your credit report, then you learn, oh, there's a down payment for this as well. Oh, there's a registration fee. Oh, there are title fees and sales tax and assorted dealer fees. They're just making extra money. I'm not making these people out to be bad folks. That's just the process. And so you thought you're buying a $20,000 car. It's actually going to cost you more like $25,000 just to get that vehicle off the lot. So you got to have money saved up for your mortgage and for your automobile. The other is credit card. Most people don't think of credit cards as a loan, but they are. In fact, they are the one that has the highest interest rate over all 4 of these. Mortgage and automobile, somewhere between usually 4 to 8%. A credit card can be as high as 25% interest. That is incredibly high, almost dangerously high. So you'll be very careful when it comes to using your credit cards. Only buy things that you need and make sure that you have money saved up to pay them off. Then finally, student loans. Student loans are loans that you have to pay back. Usually you get good interest rates, but when you stop taking classes, if you graduate, if you drop out, if you take a semester off, you have to start paying those loans back. So you better be ready to pay those items back. Last part, let me get my next volunteer. How can you save money for your future? Follow this principle. People who are savvy with their money understand this idea right here. It's called paying yourself first. Everybody say it with me. Pay yourself first. What does that mean? That means anytime you get money coming in, remember that income we talked about earlier, from your part-time job, from your side hustle, from your birthday, from something you sold on Poshmark, anytime you get money coming in, take a portion of it and put it in your savings account. If you get $5, all right, what's $5 going to do? Not much. One of the smartest things my mom ever told me. My mom's a super smart lady. She taught at school for a long time. Started my first job out of college. I was not making very much money at all, just trying to, start my career. She called me up one day. She said, Preston, are you saving any money? I said, Mom, I'm barely making ends meet. She said, you got $5? Yeah, Mom, I got $5. She said, put $5 in your savings account. What's $5 going to do, Mom? She said, nothing right now. It's not about the amount. It's about the habit. She said, soon you'll make a little bit more money. When you do, put $10 away. One day you're going to get another job that pays better. Put $20 away. Then $50, then $100. It's easier to increase the amount. It's harder to start the habit when you haven't already begun. So start putting money away by paying yourself first. Start small. Don't be afraid of humble beginnings. Start small and let it grow. Let that money grow over time. Don't touch it. I know it's going to be tempting to try to use that money for something now, but delay that gratification for later when you want to buy that car, you want to buy that house, you want to buy that whatever. Let it grow. In fact, most financial experts say they should follow the 50-30-20 principle. 50-30-20. What does that mean? It means 50% of all the money you get coming in should go toward your needs. 30% should go toward your wants, but 20%, 1/5 of all the money you get coming in should go toward your savings. And make sure that you're using those specialty accounts where you can earn that compound interest, which allows your money to earn money and work hard for you. Now it's time for my second game. I need another volunteer. Let's go to the back row, right here in the middle. Come on down. Everybody give her a round of applause, please. Oh, that was weak. Come on. Let's give her a round of applause. Y'all getting sleepy on me. It's the middle of the day. Y'all getting a little tired. All right. All right. What's your name? Demaria?
Zamaria.
Oh, Zamaria. Nice to meet you, Zamaria. Stand right over there, okay? Just like we showed earlier with our first contestant, I'm going to put 3 questions on the screen. If you get them wrong, nothing happens. But if you get them right, the audience is going to cheer loudly for you. It's going to help you win money on our next game. Sound good? All right, let's go ahead and look at the first question. Zamaria, which of these is not, N-O-T, not one of the 4 common types of loans? A mortgage, a mortgage, a credit card, a business loan, or an auto loan, which is not?
Business loan.
That's correct. Most people don't have to take out money for a business loan. She is correct. 1 for 1. Very good. Now, some people do start their own businesses, but it's not one of the main types. Okay. Next up, Zamaria, what is a common down payment amount for a home? 20, 30, 50, or 75%?
20.
20%. Is she correct? Let's go. 20%. This side's getting loud. Come on over here. Come on, get loud. She's like, I ain't looking at you. All right, number 3. Following the 50-30-20 principle says you should put 20% of your income towards what? Needs, wants, donations, or savings?
Savings.
She says savings. 3 for 3. All right. Nicely done, Zamaria. You are going to play our game called Money Wheel. Here's how this works. I have this big prize wheel right here with 16 wedges. They're all numbered. As you can see on the screen, there are different dollar amounts based on what it lands on. So in just a moment, you're going to stand right here. You're going to give this wheel a good spin, just like that. Whatever it lands on, we're going to see what amount it is. You'll notice we have some low amounts, $2, $3, $6, and $8. We have some medium amounts, 10, 20, 14, 18. And we have some high amounts, 35, 40, and let me get loud, $50. All right. Go ahead, Zamaria. Give it a good spin, nice and hard. 1, 2, 3. Let's go. Big money, big money, big money. Here we go. All right. It's going to land on 13, $12. Now, Zamar, you have a choice to make, okay? $12 is more than you had when you came in. However, there are bigger amounts on the screen. So you have 2 more spins. Do you want to keep 12? Or do you want to give it up and spin again? Spin again! All right, let's go. Good spin. Here we go. All right. She had $12. She's looking for that 16. Or that 11. Or that 11. Oh, $6. Number 12, $6. You have one more chance. One more time. One more time. Ready, go. All right. Whatever it lands on is going to be your amount, okay? All right. Big money, big money, big money. Come on. Give us that 16. Give us that 16. Here it comes. Here it comes. Oh, 14, $8. Oh, give her a round of applause. Thank you very much. I'll bring you back up and pay you at the end, okay? All right. Nice job, Zamaria. Man, we were super close to the 50 bucks. All right, folks. We are halfway through. I'm going to speed up just a little bit to make sure we try to finish on time. We have 2 more topics. These are going to go fast. I have 2 more chances for some of you to get up here, play our games, and win some money. Next part, costs of college. Costs of college. So some of you mentioned earlier that you might want to go to college one day. I think that's a great idea. Does that mean that you have to go to college to have a successful career? Nope. My stepfather worked 40 years for the same company, worked his way up, and now he's retired. He's a millionaire, and he worked really hard for his money. He's a millionaire, not me. He is. But it proves that you don't have to go to college to have a successful career. She's laughing about it over here, but you don't. The good news is that if you do choose to go to college, whether that be a community college, a 4-year school, whatever, it gives you a better chance of having a really financially successful career. So let's talk about what that can look like if you do choose to go to college one day. Of course, everyone knows you go to college, unless you're on scholarship, you have to pay tuition. Tuition is the cost of going to college, what you have to pay for. Did you know that in the 21st century, the last 26 years, the average cost of college has doubled in price? That means that when your parents, when they went to college, if they paid less than half of what you're going to have to pay if you choose to go to college now, which is really expensive. The average in-state tuition is almost $10,000 a semester, which is really incredible. On top of tuition, you have room and board. If you choose to live at the college where you attend, and most people do, then you need to know that you have to pay for that dorm room, for that housing. At a 4-year school, the cost of room and board can be almost $13,000, which is really, really expensive. It represents about 46% of the cost of college for most first-year students. On top of all those things, you also have to pay for the books you use in college, whether it be a physical book or an ebook. At a public 4-year school, students pay an average of $1,200 annually for their textbooks, which is really, really expensive. So you have tuition, room and board, and your books and supplies. The good news is, sometimes, for your books and supplies specifically, the federal government helps us out. There is a way for students to get $2,500 for their books and supplies through a tax credit. So when you or your family start to apply for your tax return when you're in college, make sure to check out the form 8863, or you can just Google or search for textbook tax credit. It can apply $2,500 back to your account in federal taxes for any money you spent on books, as well as other costs like electronics and things like that. So any of those supplies you need for college can be really beneficial. Now, when it comes to college, there are different types of schools. You guys already know that. Make sure I get everybody's attention. We've got different things going on. We'll make sure we're all focused. All right, appreciate you. So we have different types of schools. We're at one right now, but this school is different from other types of schools. So let's talk about them really quickly. We have in-state and out-of-state. The easiest way to understand 2 different types of colleges. If it's located in the state where you live, it's called an in-state school. If it's located somewhere else, it's an out-of-state school. This is a simple question, but go ahead and shout them out. Name some colleges that are located in the state of Alabama where we live. All right. I don't know about Tennessee, but I did hear, I heard, all right, I hear a lot. Okay. So we have, ones I heard are Auburn, Alabama, Alabama A&M, Alabama State, Tuskegee, all those sorts, South Alabama, Jacksonville State. Okay, all those are examples. Troy, there you go. So what about some out-of-state schools? Tennessee, LSU, Georgia Tech. Okay, we got it. So in-state, out-of-state. You may not know this, but typically the state where you live, those schools will charge you less than someone who lives out of state. So if you wanted to go to, you're wearing an Alabama State shirt right now. If you want to go to Alabama State, I'm assuming it's the Hornets, right? If you want to go to Alabama State, for you living in Alabama, you would pay lower tuition than someone who lives in Georgia or Tennessee or Florida to go to that school because they would be out of state. So in-state versus out-of-state, usually in-state's cheaper. Now, interestingly, every state is different. So the average in-state tuition for Alabama, like I said earlier, is almost $10,000. Interestingly, Florida currently has the lowest in-state tuition. So if you happen to relocate to Florida before you go to college, they have lower in-state tuition rates for their students. Now, that's one type. The other type of differentiation is public versus private. Right? Just like high schools, there are private colleges. So public versus private. Public schools get funded usually not just from the state, but from the federal government, and that helps lower the cost to make tuition even less. Private schools usually don't have as much funding that way, so they make it up through tuition. Doesn't mean those schools are bad. In fact, some of them are really prestigious. Harvard is one that everybody would recognize. It's a private school that would be really prestigious, but their tuition would be a lot higher because of that. Then you have what we call 2-year and 4-year schools. We're at one right now. Sometimes we call them community colleges. These are places you can go to get education for 1 or 2 years and then choose to maybe transfer to a 4-year school. So community college can be really beneficial opportunities for you to get lower tuition costs and get a great education before gaining your associate's degree and maybe transferring to a 4-year school. Like Wallace, exactly. And then finally we have career. It's tucked behind there, but career and technical schools. These are specialty schools that will allow people to get a certain type of degree based on the career path they want to pursue. For instance, maybe you don't want to go to school for 4 years to get just a general business degree or something, but you know that you want to get trained in a certain career field, like welding. Being able to make pieces of metal come together. Welders can make really good amounts of money, and they have to just be trained in how to do that. Maybe you are interested in healthcare field. You want to become a dental hygienist or a dental assistant. You can go to a technical school and learn how to do that without having to spend 4 years in a traditional college. Maybe you're interested in technology. Go get a degree in cybersecurity from a technical school. Maybe you're interested in culinary arts. You want to become a chef one day. Go to a culinary arts school and learn how to cook food the right way and all those fancy things, and you don't have to spend 4 years getting a traditional degree. So there are other options that you can pursue if you're interested in going to college. All right, it's time for our third volunteer. We've had 1, 2 people. Let's go to this side of the room with pink hair. Come on up. Round of applause. Come on up. What's your name?
Alexandria.
Alexandria, nice to meet you. All right, hang out right over there. All right, Alexandria, we've had 2 contestants. They've done great. They've won money. Now it's time for you to play and possibly win some money as well, okay? Our first question, Alexandria, how much of a tax credit can students receive from the IRS for purchasing textbooks? Which one?
25.
You tell me.
Okay, wait.
She says $2,500. Is she correct? She is. Let's go. Nicely done. Number 2, which state currently offers the lowest tuition for in-state? She says Florida. Is she correct? She is. 2 for 2. Last one. Troy University, where I happen to work just down the road from us, is an example of which type of college. Would it be a private school, a trade school, a 2-year school, or a 4-year school? She says 4-year. Is she correct? She is. Nicely done. All right, Alexandria, you are going to play our game called Cash Smash. It's right here. Step on over here and I'll show you how it works. You've got 3 questions correct, which means you have 3 punches on the board. Behind each of these little holes that you can punch through the paper is a playing card. The card looks like this, has my company logo on the back side. On the front side, though, this is a joker, but on the board would be a traditional playing card amount. You can see we have 4 number 2s on the board, 4 3s, 4 4s, all the way to 10s. If you pull out a number, it is worth that amount of money. So if you pull out a 7, it would be worth $7. Make sense? However, we have 2 jacks on the board. They're worth $15 a piece. 2 queens, get a little loud, 2 queens worth $20 a piece. 1 king worth $25. And if you happen to pull the 1 ace on the board, it is worth $100. Now, just like our last contestant, you'll do it one at a time, and you have to choose, do you want to keep that amount or give it up and try again?
Oh, that's scary.
All right, go ahead and punch your first one, and I'll reach in and pull out what you have. Nice punch. All right, so I'll reach in here, grab this card. Your first amount, Alexandria, is the ace! Let's go! You pulled out the first one! $100! Let's go! Nice job! First try. What are the chances? Nicely done. Okay. Well, I'm assuming you want to stop.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, I will bring you back up at the end for the money.
Right.
Round of applause for Alexandria. So, truth be told, I've done this a lot. I've had people get the ace before. I've never had someone get it on the very first try. That was amazing, Alexandria. Nice work. All right. We have one more topic. Man, we're giving away lots of money today. Good job. We have one more topic to go over. I'll get one more contestant, and then we'll be done, okay? So, the last topic is paying for college. I mentioned earlier that college is expensive. It can be. So how can you lower the costs of college? Number one, there are some things you can do before, during, to make college less expensive. What can you do beforehand? I'm sure you guys already know about this. Hopefully your high schools are offering this. But dual enrollment is a great opportunity for you to get high school and college credit at the same time. Most schools offer dual enrollment, usually through a 4-year school or through a community college. I know that Troy University has their early college program offered at $33 a credit hour. So for less than $100, less than the amount that Alexandria just won, you could actually take a college class, which is really cool. They also, some schools also offer advanced placement, which is called AP classes, or International Baccalaureate IB classes. These work a lot of the same way. However, for these two, you actually have to take and pass an exam at the end in order to get the credit. Those are things you can do in college to start earning college credits ahead of time for less expensive. What can you do during college? Well, one thing is you can choose to live at home, where it's often free for most people, right? And instead of living on campus, you can find a school that's closer to where you live, so the commuting is less expensive as well. In fact, as of 2019, just under 20% of students that attended a 4-year school lived with their parents. You can also choose to work part-time while you're in school. I did this. In fact, up to 45% of college students every single year work a part-time job. So almost half of every student in college is working a part-time job while in school. The third thing you can do, and I'm sure our friends at Wallace will agree with this, you can attend a community college first. Approximately 1/3 of all students that attend a community college transfer to a 4-year institution. So going to community college can be a really awesome experience and be less expensive, and then transfer to a 4-year school if you want that bachelor's degree. Finally, other strategies. Choose to work full-time. It's difficult, but some people do choose to work full-time while they're in school, or they choose to work for a few years and then go to school later. If you work for a few different companies, you can actually earn what we call tuition assistance. This is where companies will pay for some or all of your college expenses once you work with that company a certain number of years. Some of these companies that you might have heard of before include Amazon, Walmart, and Starbucks, just to name a few. They all offer tuition assistance to their employees after you've met certain requirements. Other options, this is not for everybody, but you could choose to go into the military. People who pursue the military can earn what we call a GI Bill after a few years. That will also pay for your college tuition most of the time. Final options, you can pursue what we call a 529 plan. This is a college savings plan. This is an opportunity for you and your family to invest money with the state that you can then get back tax-free to be used for college expenses. But it's not just about tuition. You can actually use that money for room and board, so dorm rooms. You can use it for textbooks. You can use it for technology fees, whatever the kind of things you need related to your schooling, you can use that money. And even though you're in high school, if you don't have one of these, it's not too late to set up. Again, it's simply an investment program through the state, but it allows you to earn money back tax-free. In the state of Alabama, the program is called College Counts. My wife and I have a 3-year-old. We've already started one of these programs for him, so that way when he gets to 18 years old and graduates high school, we can have money set aside already for him to go to school. Last slide, then I'm going to get my final volunteer. If you do have to borrow money for college, you need to know these things right here. The first thing is called FAFSA. Nod your heads if you've heard FAFSA before. Hopefully your college or your high school counselors have been talking about this. FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid. What does that mean? That means that this allows you and your families to understand how much money you're eligible for to use for college from the federal government. So every person, whether you're planning on taking out loans or not, should fill out the FAFSA every year you go to college. If you do fill out the FAFSA, you'll find out if you're eligible for any federal loans. This is the main way the government lends money for students to go to college, federal loans. There are a few different kinds: direct subsidized, direct unsubsidized, direct plus loans, and even consolidation loans. These can be very beneficial. However, you need to remember these are ultimately loans. And as we said earlier, money you're loaned, you have to pay back with interest. The interest rates vary depending on what type of loan it is, but you want to be careful to only borrow and use the amount of money you need. Because as of 2026, the average federal student loan debt, the average, $38,000. That is a lot of money to have to pay back once you graduate school. So be very careful to only borrow the amount that you need. The other option, this last part, that you can find out about through FAFSA is grants. Grants are opportunities for you to get free money. I'm going to say that one more time. For you to get free money for college that you do not have to pay back. These grants often come in the form of federal Pell Grants, which is the largest federal grant opportunity offered to undergraduate students and specifically helps to aid low-income households. So if you're interested in learning, if you're qualified for any federal loans or grants, you have to make sure you fill out the FAFSA every single year. And if I'm not mistaken, it becomes available January 1st for each academic year. So talk to your school counselors, talk to your family and friends about getting information about FAFSA to help you understand what you're eligible for when it comes to paying for college. All right, it is time for our final volunteer. Do I have anybody who is interested? Let's see. I'm looking around the room. How about my Bama State friend right here in the front? Come on down. Give a round of applause. Now, I can't guarantee that she's going to get the questions right, but I can tell you that I was looking at her, I was looking at everybody. She was paying attention. She was engaged. I appreciate that. What's your name? Nakira. All right, Nakira, you're our final volunteer. 3 questions. If you get them right, you'll have a chance to play one of our games. Sound good? All right, here we go. Nakira, besides tuition, which of the following expenses can a 529 plan cover? Room and board, textbooks, technical equipment, or all of these? Use good test-taking skills. What do you think? She said all of these. Is she correct? She is! 1 for 1. All right, number 2, approximately what percentage of community college students transfer to a 4-year school? Earlier, I said this as a fraction. You got to do the transition to a percentage. Is it 20%, 33%, 50%, or 75%? 33%. Is she correct? She is! Let's go! Nicely done. 1/3 is 33%. Final question. What is the average federal student loan debt? About $12,000, $24,000, $38,000, or $50,000? You get some help from the audience. $38,000. She's correct! All right, because you're a final volunteer, because you paid such good attention, you have your choice of playing prize drop, money wheel, or cash smash. It's totally up to you which one you want to go for. Now remember, the 100's gone over here, but there's still some other big amounts, the prize wheel or prize drop. What do you think? It's up to you. She's going to do the money wheel. All right, you saw earlier how it works. You give it a good spin. Whatever it lands on corresponds with the amount on the board. You have 3 questions correct, which means you get 3 tries. You have to choose, do you want to keep that amount or give it up and spin again? Sound good? All right, when she spins the wheel, let's hear some applause. 1, 2, 3. Big money! Here we go. Big money, big money, big money, big money. Let's go, Nakira. All right, we want some big money right here. Your first amount. Yeah! $50. You want to stop? $50. All right. All right, great job. That was exciting. Hang out right over there. I'm almost finished. Just hang out right over there. All right, cool. Well, great job to her and all the contestants. So I'm about to get my other participants back up in just a moment. I did want to close with this, guys. I want to let you know how much I appreciate your time and attention. Thank you to Brooke for letting me be here today. Everyone, whether you participated on stage or not, is going to get one of these right here. They're in the blue bags right behind Nakai. These are a little note from me. It includes some information. It has a QR code you can scan for additional resources. It'll take you to my website where you can see more info about all the things we talked about today. It also has a QR code for a quick survey. So if you don't mind, when you have a few moments, it's very short. Fill out a survey. Tell me what you thought about today's presentation. If you liked it, if you didn't like it. It's anonymous, right? I won't know who it is, but give me some feedback. And then finally, everybody is going to get a small little green wristband you can wear. It has my company logo on it and can remind you about the things we talked about today. I really appreciate you all and your time. Thank you so much for having me. Let me get my